Tasya Kimangyama Salakaya Sakshur Muditanyena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha. We're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami in the purport of His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are on Chapter 2, the ecstatic manifestation of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is Madhya Lila Chapter 2. Verse 1. While relating in synopsis form the last divisions of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this chapter I shall describe the Lord's transcendental ecstasy, which appears like madness due to his separation from Krishna. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, and all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. During his last 12 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always manifested all the symptoms of ecstasy in separation from Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state of mind, day and night, was practically identical to Radharani's state of mind when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. The Lord constantly exhibited a state of mind reflecting the madness of separation. All his activities were based on forgetfulness, and his talks were always based on madness. Blood flowed from all the pores of his body, and all his teeth were loosened. At one moment, his whole body became slender, and at another moment, his whole body became fat. The small room beyond the corridor is called the Gambira. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to stay in that room, but he did not sleep for a moment. All night he used to grind his mouth and head on the wall, and his face sustained injuries all over. Although the 3 doors of the house were always closed, the Lord would nonetheless go out and sometimes would be found at the Jagannath temple before the gate known as Simhadwara, and sometimes the Lord would fall flat into the sea. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also run very fast across the sand dunes, mistaking them for Govardhan. As he ran, he would wail and cry loudly. Sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mistook the small parks of the city for Vrindavan. Sometimes he would go there, dance and chant, and sometimes fall unconscious in spiritual ecstasy. The extraordinary transformations of the body due to transcendental feelings would never have been possible for anyone but the Lord, in whose body all transformations were manifest. The joints of his hands and legs would sometimes become separate by 8 inches, and they remained connected only by the skin. Sometimes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hands, legs, and head would all enter within his body, just like the withdrawn limbs of a tortoise. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to manifest wonderful ecstatic symptoms. His mind appeared vacant, and there were only hopelessness and disappointment in his words. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to express his mind in this way: "Where is the Lord of my life? Who is playing his flute? What shall I do now? Where should I go to find the son of Maharaj Nanda?" To whom should I speak? Who can understand the disappointment? Without the son of Nanda Maharaj, my heart is broken. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always expressed bewilderment and lamented in separation from Krishna. At such times, he used to recite the slokas from Ramananda Roy's drama known as Jagannath Vallabha Nataka. Srimati Radharani used to lament, "Our Krishna does not realize what we have suffered from injuries inflicted in the course of loving affairs. We are actually misused by love, because love does not know where to strike and where not to strike. Even Cupid does not know of our very much weakened condition. What should I tell anyone? No one can understand another's difficulties. Our life is actually not under our control, for youth will remain for 2 or 3 days and soon be finished. In this condition, O Creator, what will be our destination?" Srimati Radharani spoke thus in distress due to the separation from Krishna. "Oh, what shall I say of my distress? After I met Krishna, my loving propensities sprouted, but upon the separation from him, I sustained a great shock, which is now continuing like the suffering of a disease. The only physician for this disease is Krishna himself, but he is not taking care of this sprouting plant of devotional service. What can I say about the behavior of Krishna? Outwardly, he is very attractive, a young lover, but at heart he is a great cheat, very expert in killing others' wife." Srimati Radharani continued, lamenting about the consequences of loving Krishna. "My dear friend, I do not understand the regulative principles given by the Creator. I loved Krishna for happiness, but the result was just the opposite. I am now in an ocean of distress. It must be that now I am going to die, for my vital force no longer remains. This is my state of mind." By nature, loving affairs are very crooked. They are not entered with sufficient knowledge, nor do they consider whether a place is suitable or not, nor do they look forward to the results. By the ropes of his good qualities, Krishna, who is so unkind, has bound my neck and hands, and I am unable to get relief. In my loving affairs, there is a person named Madan. His qualities are thus: personally, he possesses no gross body, yet he is very expert in giving pains to others. He has 5 arrows, and fixing them on his bow, he shoots them into the bodies of innocent women. Thus these women become invalids. It would be better if he took my life without hesitation, but he doesn't do so. He simply gives me pain. In the scriptures it is said that one person can never know the unhappiness in the mind of another. Therefore, what can I say of my dear friends, Lalita and others? Nor can they understand the unhappiness within me. They simply try to console me, repeatedly saying, "Dear friend, be patient." I say, "My dear friends, you are talking and asking me to be patient, saying that Krishna is an ocean of mercy and that sometime in the future he will accept me. However, I must say that this will not console me. A living entity's life is very flickering. It is like water on the leaf of a lotus flower. Who will live long enough to expect Krishna's mercy? A human being does not live more than 100 years. You should also consider that the youthfulness of a woman which is the only attraction for Krishna, remains for only a few days. If you say that Krishna is an ocean of transcendental qualities and therefore must be merciful someday, I can only say that he is like fire, which attracts moths by its dazzling brightness and kills them. Such are the qualities of Krishna. By showing us his transcendental qualities, he attracts our minds, and then later, by separating from us, he drowns us in an ocean of unhappiness. In this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented in a great ocean of sadness, and thus he opened the doors of his unhappiness. Forced by the waves of ecstasy, his mind wandered over transcendental mellows, and he recited another verse as follows. My dear friends, unless I serve the transcendental form, qualities and pastimes of Sri Krishna, all my days and all my senses will become entirely useless. Now I am uselessly bearing the burden of my senses, which are like stone blocks and dried wood. I do not know how long I will be able to continue without shame. Of what use are the eyes of one who does not see the face of Krishna, which resembles the moon and is the birthplace of all beauty, and the reservoir of the nectarian songs of his flute? Oh, let a thunderbolt strike his head. Why does he keep such eyes? My dear friends, please hear me. I have lost all providential strength. Without Krishna, my body, consciousness and mind, as well as all my senses, are useless. Topics about Krishna are like waves of nectar. If such nectar does not enter one's ears, the ear is no better than the hole of a damaged conch shell. Such an ear is created for no purpose. The nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna and his transcendental qualities and characteristics surpass the taste of the essence of all nectar, and there is no fault in tasting such nectar. If one does not taste it, he should immediately die after birth, and his tongue is to be considered no better than the tongue of a frog. One's nostrils are no better than the bellows of a blacksmith if one has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, which is like the aroma of musk combined with that of the bluish lotus flower. Indeed, such combinations are actually defeated by the aroma of Krishna's body. The palms of Krishna's hands and the soles of his feet are so cool and pleasant that they can be compared only to the light of millions of moons. One who has touched such hands and feet has indeed tasted the effects of a touchstone. If one has not touched them, his life is spoiled and his body is like iron. Lamenting in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the doors of grief within his heart. Morose, humble and disappointed, he recited a verse again and again with a despondent heart. If by chance the transcendental form of Krishna comes before my path of vision, my heart, injured from being beaten, will be stolen away by Cupid, happiness personified, because I could not see the beautiful form of Krishna to my heart's content. When I again see his form, I shall decorate the faces of time with many jewels. Whenever I had a chance to see Lord Krishna's face and his flute, even in a dream, two enemies would appear before me. They were pleasure and Cupid, and since they took away my mind, I was not able to see the face of Krishna to the full satisfaction of my eyes. If by chance such a moment comes when I can once again see Krishna, then I shall worship those seconds, moments and hours with flower garlands and pulp of sandalwood and decorate them with all kinds of jewels and ornaments. In an instant, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regained external consciousness and saw two persons before him. Questioning them, he asked, "Am I conscious? What dreams have I been seeing? What craziness have I spoken? Have you heard some expressions of humility?" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "My dear friends, you are all my life and soul. Therefore I tell you that I possess no wealth of love for Krishna. Consequently, my life is poverty-stricken. My limbs and senses are useless." Again he addressed Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda, speaking despondently, "Alas, my friends, you can now know the certainty within my heart, and after knowing my heart, you should judge whether I am correct or not. You can speak of this property." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then began to chant another verse. "Love of Godhead devoid of cheating propensities is not possible within this material world. If there is such a love, there cannot be separation, for if there is separation, how can one live? Pure love for Krishna, just like gold from the Jambu river, does not exist in human society. If it existed, there could not be separation. If separation were there, one could not live." Thus speaking, the son of Srimati Sachimata recited another wonderful verse, and Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar heard this verse with rapt attention. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I feel it shameful to disclose the activities of my heart. Nonetheless, I shall be done with all formalities and speak from the heart. Please hear." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "My dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I am just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Indeed, not seeing the beautiful face of Krishna, playing his flute, I continue to live my life like an insect without purpose. Actually, my love for Krishna is far, far away. Whatever I do is actually an exhibition of pseudo-love of Godhead. When you see me cry, I am simply falsely demonstrating my great fortune. Please try to understand this beyond a doubt. Even though I do not see the moon-like face of Krishna as he plays on his flute, and although there is no possibility of my meeting him, still I take care of my own body. This is the way of lust. In this way I maintain my fly-like life. Love for Lord Krishna is very pure, just like the waters of the Ganges. That love is an ocean of nectar. That pure attachment to Krishna does not conceal any spot, which would appear just like a spot of ink on a white cloth. Unalloyed love of Krishna is like an ocean of happiness. If someone gets one drop of it, the whole world can drown in that drop. It is not befitting to express such love of Godhead. Yet a madman must speak, but even though he speaks, no one believes him. In this way, Lord Chaitanya used to revel in ecstasy day after day and exhibit these ecstasies before Swarup and Ramananda Roy. Externally, there appeared severe tribulation as if he were suffering from poisonous effects, but internally he was experiencing bliss. This is a characteristic of transcendental love of Krishna. If one tastes such love of Godhead, he can compare it to hot sugarcane. When one chews hot sugarcane, his mouth burns, yet he cannot give it up. Similarly, if one has but a little love of Godhead, he can perceive its powerful effects. It can only be compared to poison and nectar mixed together. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, "My dear beautiful friend, if one develops love of Godhead, love of Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, all the bitter and sweet influences of this love will manifest in one's heart. Such love of Godhead acts in two ways. The poisonous effects of love of Godhead defeat the severe and fresh poison of the serpent. Yet there is simultaneously transcendental bliss, which pours down and defeats the pride of nectar and diminishes its value. In other words, love of God is so powerful that it simultaneously defeats the poisonous effects of a snake, as well as the happiness derived from pouring nectar on one's head. It is perceived as doubly effective, simultaneously so poisonous and nectarian." When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see Jagannath along with Balaram and Subhadra, he would immediately think that he had reached Kurukshetra, where all of them had come. He would think that his life was successful because he had seen the lotus-eyed one, whom, if seen, pacifies the body, mind and eyes. We will stop here for today. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila Chapter 2, the ecstatic manifestation of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Who's gonna sing Hare Krishna?
Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama.
Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama.
Yadavaya Yadavaya Keshavaya Nama.
Yadavaya
Bala Govindaram Shrimada Sudana. Virali Gopinath Namo. I'm too much, I'm too deep in separation, I can't stand this anymore. I want to go to Vrindavan first.
Jaya Saparika Sisi Guru Kuranga Sundar Radha Giridhar Juki Jaya. Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Nimalacharya Maharaj Ki Jaya. Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jaya. Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Rakak Sita Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jaya. Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jaya. Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jaya. Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya. Om Vishnupad Sila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jaya. Sapajara Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jaya. Sapajara Sri Mahaprabhu Ki Jaya. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Kiri Govardhan Ki Jaya. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jaya. Ganga Yamuna Jo Ki Jaya. Granta Rachimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charita Murita Ki Jaya. Sri Navadvitam Ki Jaya. Sri Mayapur Dham Ki Jaya. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jaya. Sri Purushottam Dham Ki Jaya. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Jo Ki Jaya. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jaya. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat East London Chapter Ki Jaya. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat West London Chapter Ki Jaya. All glories to the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All glories to the world devotees Ki Jai. Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Jai Shri.